Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Storytime English. I am so glad you are here with me today. Take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. And let this story wrap around you like a perfectly made coat, simple on the outside and full of secrets on the inside. Now, imagine you are a 12-year-old girl standing at the gate of a convent. A convent is a place where religious women, called nuns, live and work. It is the year 1895, in the quiet green hills of central France. Your mother has just died. She was only 31. Your father, a street seller who was never home, has brought you here with your two sisters. He puts down your small bag. He says goodbye, and then he walks away. He never comes back. The gate closes behind you. The walls are gray stone. The corridors are cold. The nuns wear black and white. The children of the orphanage wear black and white. Everything in your world is now black and white. You have no money, no family, no future. You are nobody. But in this cold, quiet place, the nuns teach you one skill. They put a needle and thread into your hands, and they teach you how to sew. Hold on to that needle, little girl, because one day you will use it to stitch your name across the entire world. Her name was Gabrielle Chanel. The world would come to know her as Coco. Stay with me, my friend. Because this is the story of a girl who had nothing, not money, not family, not even a real place in society, and who used a needle, a pair of scissors, and an unbreakable will to change how half the planet gets dressed every single morning. Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel was born on the 19th of August, 1883, in a small town called Saumur in France. Her family was very poor. Her mother washed clothes for other people. Her father sold cheap goods in street markets, traveling from town to town. The family moved often, slept in cold rooms, and never had enough. When Gabrielle was 11, her mother became sick. A year later, she died. And her father, instead of caring for his children, gave them away. The boys were sent to work on farms. The girls were sent to the orphanage at a convent called Aubazine. Gabrielle lived there for 6 years, 6 years of silence, prayer, and routine. 6 years of plain black dresses and clean white walls. Many years later, when she was rich and famous, she almost never spoke about this time. She was ashamed of it. She even invented stories about her childhood to hide the truth. But here is something fascinating, my friend. The orphanage never left her. The simple black, the pure white, the clean, plain lines, the hatred of decoration that served no purpose. If you look at a Chanel design today, the famous black dress, the black and white packaging, the simple, elegant lines, you are looking at the walls of that convent. She took the saddest years of her life and turned them into a style that conquered the world. She did not hide her scars. She made them beautiful. At 18, Gabrielle left the convent. She worked as a seamstress during the day. A seamstress is a woman who sews clothes for a living. And at night, she sang in cafes for soldiers and local men. She was not a great singer, but she was charming, quick, and impossible to ignore. She often sang a popular song about a girl called Coco. The soldiers began to call her by that name, Coco. It stuck. The poor orphan Gabrielle slowly disappeared, and Coco, sharp, confident, mysterious, took her place. But let us be honest about her situation. In France, at the beginning of the 20th century, a poor girl with no family had almost no doors open to her. She could not go to university. She could not enter business. She could not even open a bank account without a man's permission. A woman like Coco had very few choices. Coco found her way through the world that existed. She met a rich young man named Etienne Balsan, who came from a family of textile factory owners. She went to live at his large country house. There, for the first time, she saw the world of the rich up close. And what she saw amazed her and also disgusted her. The wealthy women around her could barely move. They wore enormous hats, covered with feathers and dead birds. They wore long, heavy dresses that dragged on the ground. And under everything, they wore the corset. Let me explain this word, because it is important. A corset was a stiff piece of underwear, pulled tight around a woman's body with laces to squeeze her waist into a tiny, fashionable shape. Corsets made it hard to breathe. Women fainted in them. Some even damaged their bodies for life. Fashion, at that time, was a beautiful prison. Coco refused to wear it. She dressed simply, sometimes borrowing men's shirts and riding clothes. And instead of enormous decorated hats, she made her own, small, clean, elegant. The fashionable ladies laughed at her at first. Then, slowly, they began to ask, "Where did you get that hat?" At Balson's house, Coco met the true love of her life. His name was Arthur Capel, an English businessman. Everyone called him Boy. Boy Capel was different from the other rich men. He did not just find Coco charming. He believed in her mind. He listened to her ideas. And when she said she wanted to open a shop, he did not laugh. He lent her the money. In 1910, Coco Chanel opened a small hat shop in Paris, on a street called Rue Cambon. Remember that street name, my friend. The house of Chanel stands on that same street to this day. Her hats sold well, but hats were only the beginning. In 1913, she opened a boutique in Deauville, a seaside town where rich people spent their summers. And there she began to sell something truly new: simple, comfortable clothes that women could actually move in. Then history itself stepped in to help her. In 1914, the First World War began. Millions of men left for the battlefield. And the women? They went to work. They drove ambulances. They worked in hospitals and factories. They ran shops and farms. And you cannot drive an ambulance in a corset and a dress that touches the floor. Suddenly, the whole world needed exactly what Coco Chanel was making. She worked with a soft, stretchy fabric called jersey. Until then, jersey was so cheap and plain that it was mainly used for men's underwear. Other designers would not touch it. Coco loved it. It was comfortable. It moved with the body. She cut it into simple dresses, loose jackets, and skirts. A woman could walk in, really walk in, with long, free steps. She said something that became famous: luxury must be comfortable. If it is not comfortable, it is not luxury. Think about how revolutionary that was, my friend. For centuries, women's fashion was designed to please the eyes of others, no matter how much it hurt the woman inside it. Coco Chanel designed for the woman herself. Her clothes said something new. A woman is not a decoration. A woman is a person who moves, works, breathes, and lives. By the end of the war, Chanel was famous. By 1919, she was rich with money she had earned herself. She paid back every franc Boy Capel had lent her. She belonged to no one. And then, in December 1919, her world broke. Boy Capel died in a car accident. He was the one person who had truly believed in her, the one person she truly loved. Friends said she never fully recovered. Years later, she said that when Boy died, she lost everything. There is a story, perhaps true, perhaps legend, that she had her bedroom curtains and sheets changed to black, the color of grief. But black could not hold her forever. She did what she always did with pain. She turned it into work. In 1921, Coco Chanel did something no fashion designer had ever done. She created a perfume and put her own name on it. She worked with a master perfume maker named Ernest Beau. He prepared many samples for her to smell, each with a number. She chose the 5th one. And with her love of simplicity, she did not give it a romantic name, like other perfumes of the time. She simply called it Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5. The bottle was plain, a simple square of glass, when other perfumes came in bottles shaped like flowers and hearts. The scent was unlike anything before it. And it became, quite simply, the most famous perfume in the history of the world. Decades later, a journalist asked the movie star Marilyn Monroe what she wore to bed. She answered, "Just a few drops of Chanel No. 5. One sentence, and the legend grew even larger. Then, in 1926, came the dress. Coco designed a short, simple dress in plain black. Nothing extra. No feathers, no lace, no jewels, just clean, perfect lines. Today we call it the little black dress, and there is probably one hanging in almost every wardrobe on earth. But understand, my friend, how shocking it was then. Black was the color of funerals, the color of servants, the color of mourning, the color of that orphanage. Coco took the color of sadness and poverty and turned it into the color of elegance. An American magazine compared the dress to the Ford motor car, simple, brilliant, and for everyone. And it was not only clothes. Coco cut her hair short, and short hair swept across the world. She mixed real diamonds with beautiful fake jewelry, and suddenly fake pearls were chic elegance, she was saying. Lives in the eye and not in the price tag. She came back from a sailing holiday with sun-browned skin, and even the suntan became fashionable. Again and again, whatever this woman did, the world copied. By the 1930s, Coco Chanel stood at the top of the fashion world. She employed thousands of workers. She dressed film stars and princesses. The orphan girl from Aubazine was now one of the richest women in France, a woman who had built her fortune herself, with her own name on the door. But, my friend, this story is not simple, and I will not pretend that it is. In 1939, when the Second World War began, Chanel closed her fashion house. During the war, while France was occupied by Nazi Germany, she lived comfortably at the Ritz Hotel in Paris, a hotel full of German officers. She had a romantic relationship with a German officer. Historians still debate how deep her cooperation with the occupiers went, and some documents suggest it went further than a love affair. When the war ended, many French people saw her as a traitor. She was questioned, released, and soon left France. She spent almost 10 years in Switzerland, in a kind of exile, rich, famous, and unwelcome in her own country. It is a dark chapter, and it is part of who she was. Great talent and great flaws can live inside the same person. History asks us to see both. Most people believed her story was over. She was in her 70s. A new generation of male designers now ruled Paris fashion, and they were putting women back into tight waists and stiff skirts. Nobody was waiting for an old woman to return, which is exactly why she did. In 1954, at the age of 71, Coco Chanel reopened her fashion house on Rue Cambon. The Paris newspapers were cruel. They called her collection old-fashioned, sad, a ghost from the past. A 71-year-old woman, they said, had nothing left to say about fashion. But across the ocean, America disagreed. American women bought her new designs by the thousands. They did not want to be decorations either. They wanted exactly what Chanel had always offered: elegance you could move in, luxury you could live in. Her simple suit, a soft jacket and skirt in woven tweed fabric, became one of the most copied designs of the century. In 1955, she created a quilted handbag with a long shoulder strap, so a woman could hang her bag from her shoulder and keep her hands free. Free hands, freedom. Again, always freedom. Within a few years, Coco Chanel was back on top of the fashion world. She never stopped working, never retired. On the 9th of January, 1971, she spent the day preparing her new spring collection. The next day, A Sunday, the only day of the week she did not work. She died quietly in her room at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. She was 87 years old. It is said that her last words were, "You see, this is how one dies." Today, the empire she built is worth many billions of dollars. When a magazine chose the 100 most important people of the 20th century, only one fashion designer was on the list: Coco Chanel. The girl whose father never came back. The girl the world once saw as nobody. And so, my friend, the story of Coco Chanel comes gently to its close. She was left at a gate with nothing. The world told her, again and again, what a poor girl could not do. She could not enter society, so she dressed society. She could not escape the black and white of the orphanage, so she made black and white the most elegant colors on earth. Even her name, Coco, was invented, stitched together from a cheap song in a smoky cafe. She did not receive an identity from the world. So she designed one, and then she designed one for millions of other women too. She once said, "Fashion fades, but style remains." And maybe that is the deepest lesson of her life. Circumstances fade. Poverty, bad luck, closed doors, cruel beginnings, they fade. What remains is what you make with your own hands, day after day, stitch after stitch. And you, my friend, you are doing the same thing right now. Every time you listen to a story in English, every time you learn a new word, every time you understand a sentence that seemed impossible last month, that is one more stitch. Nobody can sew it for you, and nobody can take it from you. You are not waiting for a beautiful life to be handed to you. You are cutting and sewing it yourself, exactly like a girl in a cold convent, learning what a needle can do. It does not matter where you started. It matters what you are making. This is Storytime English. Tell me, my friend, what stayed with you most from Coco's story? Was it the gate that closed behind a 12-year-old girl? The little black dress that turned sadness into elegance? Or the 71-year-old woman who came back when everyone said she was finished? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. There are many more stories waiting right here, and I will be here when you come back. Until next time, take care of yourself, and never stop learning.